countdown has begun for the mega G20 summit, and India's presidency is going to end here. But it doesn't want to go away without leaving behind a legacy. One of the most important points which is coming up, and this is certainly going to be a part of the economic as well as trade agenda for G20, is the cryptocurrency issue. This is something which finance ministers have been thrashing out over the last 1 year. And India's stand is that cryptocurrency is a dark devil which actually cannot be avoided because this has become extremely popular, and a certain amount of monitoring and regulation really needs to take place. As we all know, in the context of India, the Indian government has been working on a regulatory law, but in the meanwhile, there's a 33% tax which has been imposed on cryptocurrency in our country. It is not seen to be as a legal tender, cannot be used for banking operations. So now, because of India's pressure and advice, the G20 meeting which takes place and decide on economic resolution, it has actually put cryptocurrency on the agenda, which essentially means that India thinks that this is now a macroeconomic global problem. It can be misused, and therefore it is something which the entire world economy needs to take cognizance of. And the G20 countries need to understand it's not limited only to one country, and therefore every single country has to take cognizance of it. Some kind of a regulatory mechanism has to be built up, because what happens is it's got to do with the internet. So, it's not restricted by geographical confines. That's one. Talking about economics, the other big concern of most of the countries, and particularly of India, has been that of economic offenders. Very often, just to give a quick example, the Swiss bank accounts, it can be accessed by the government. It can actually get the names of all those people who are got money stashed away in Swiss banks. But can those names ever be revealed? No, it's only when the court proceedings begin that the names come out. Well, India thinks that economic offenders are someone which requires a kind of a global cooperation. We know in the cases of, say, Vijay Mallya, Nirav Modi, Lalit Modi, these are the names which often keep coming up. This is also going to be very much on the platter, how to need for global cooperation as far as economic offenders are concerned, as far as terror acts are concerned. Countries which are believed to be involved in acts of terror, some kind of an economic restrictions must also be applied to them. So FATF restrictions listing into that, that's also going to be a part of the economic and trade agenda. Another important thing is as far as taxation is concerned. One of the biggest stress which the Prime Minister and India has given is on climate control, climate change with a carbon imprint. So this is talk about a global taxation, which means those countries which make products which leave behind a huge carbon footprint will have to pay more tax, and eventually that could act as a deterrent. One of the countries which created concern about this was Saudi Arabia, because bulk of the economy actually comes in from fossil fuel. So the word just transition replaced the earlier recommendation from India called just climate transition, but it doesn't mean dilution of the stand. So these are those important factors which are going to be incorporated. Balance between protectionism on one hand, that is for India, Atmanirbharta, but also opening the doors of the world, of the G20 countries, to things like more and more foreign investment. So these are going to be those important factors which are going to be a part of the G20 meeting, and especially the economic and the trade resolutions.